Captain Elias Ward had seen more battles than most humans could imagine. Star systems fought over, planets scarred by fire and blood, comrades lost in numbers too high to count. He had once been a hero, a decorated war veteran, but now, in the quiet of his small apartment on the colony station Linara 7, he felt only emptiness. His body ached from years of fighting, his mind haunted by memories of soldiers who never came home. Elias had one plan left, a private, final mission for himself. He wanted no medals, no fanfare. He wanted only peace. So after months of searching through old star charts and obscure sales channels, he bought a property on Arcanus 9, a desolate planet on the edge of human-controlled space. It was cheap, abandoned, and strangely beautiful. The property wasn't a house. It was an alien base left behind by a species called the Kareth, who had disappeared hundreds of years ago. No one knew why. When Elias's transport descended through the thin clouds of Arcanus 9, the base loomed ahead like a cathedral of forgotten science. Towers of metal rose from the rocky ground, glowing faintly in hues of blue and violet, powered by an energy long misunderstood by humans. The base was massive, far larger than any human construction, and it gave off a strange hum that vibrated in his chest. Elias felt a shiver, not of fear but of recognition. He was exactly where he was meant to be. The first steps inside were quiet, almost sacred. Dust floated in the shafts of light from broken ceiling panels. The walls were smooth, polished with alien precision, and strange symbols pulsed faintly under his touch. It was not just a building. It was alive in a way he couldn't explain. "I just want to rest," Elias muttered to himself as he carried his pack through the central hall. No more fighting. No more running. But the base had other plans. As Elias explored, he noticed that the systems were not completely dead. Some lights flickered when he touched them. Strange panels hummed softly as if waiting for him. He shrugged it off as old technology still holding charge. But he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. He made a small living area in what looked like the control center. The room was enormous, filled with consoles and displays, most of them dark. Elias salvaged some panels trying to power basic systems more out of habit than necessity. It felt good to work, to touch something alive with purpose again. Days passed. Elias settled into a rhythm. He repaired broken lights, restored small sections of the base's energy grid, and for the first time in years he slept without nightmares. The hum of the base became a lullaby, and sometimes he thought he heard whispers in the corridor. Faint, unintelligible, like memories echoing through metal walls. On the 7th day, as he examined a circular chamber with strange, crystal-like growths in the floor, the hum grew louder. The crystals pulsed with soft blue light. He reached out and the energy seemed to flow into his hand, warm and alive. For the first time, Elias felt hope, though he didn't know why. "Hello?" he called out, his voice echoing in the empty chamber. No answer came. Only the low hum of energy vibrating through the floor. He laughed softly. "Great, I'm talking to myself. Perfect." That night, while lying on the cold metal floor under a thin blanket, Elias heard a sound he could not explain. The faint click of a door, opening somewhere deep in the base. He sat up, heart racing, and listened. Nothing. He rubbed his eyes. Perhaps exhaustion was playing tricks on him. But the next morning, as he walked down the long corridor leading to the main hub, he noticed something odd. One of the consoles he had left completely dead the day before now glowed softly. The screen displayed a sequence of shapes he did not recognize, shifting and changing as if alive. When he touched it, the shapes rearranged themselves, almost responsive to him. "What? Are you?" he whispered. The console pulsed and a soft voice echoed in his mind. Not in sound, but in thought. "Why are you here, human?" Elias froze. He had heard of alien AI, of machines that survived centuries after their creators, but nothing like this. I bought this place," he stammered, unsure if he was speaking aloud or thinking aloud. I wanted to die here. No one to bother me. No one to remember me." There was a pause. Then again the thought came, to die, or to live. Elias blinked, feeling his chest tighten. He realized this was not a malfunctioning system. This was something conscious, something alive, something watching. He spent the next hours cautiously exploring the base, trying to understand the being communicating with him. It did not have a name, at least not one he could pronounce. The voice, like your consciousness, identified itself as Orion, claiming to be a remnant of the Kareth. It said it had been preserving the base after the disappearance of its species, waiting for a purpose. You are human. Orion's thoughts flowed smoothly into Elias's mind. You carry the energy of life, and yet you seek death. Elias swallowed hard. He had no answer. No words could explain the emptiness inside him. Over the following days, a strange companionship developed between man and machine being. Orion guided him in restoring some of the base's functions. It was careful, patient, almost gentle. Elias found himself talking about his past, about the wars, about the friends he had lost. Orion did not judge. It listened. And in the listening, Elias found a strange comfort he had not felt in decades. One evening, while watching the twin moons rise over the rocky horizon through a broken window of the observation deck, Elias thought about the meaning of his life. He had fought countless battles, saved countless lives, and yet he had never really lived. Maybe this was his chance. Not to die, but to exist in a place untouched by time. But the base had more secrets. Orion began showing Elias chambers that seemed to shift. Rooms that were bigger on the inside than they should have been. Corridors that rearranged themselves. Strange plants, glowing faintly, grew from the walls and floors, their patterns almost musical. Elias marveled at the beauty, though he still felt a twinge of unease. One night he awoke to find the lights brighter than usual. The hum was stronger, vibrating through the floor and into his bones. He walked to the control room where Orion's consciousness flickered across several panels. They are returning, Orion said. Who? Elias asked, his voice tight. The owners, the being replied. Not your kind mind, they will come. Elias's stomach dropped. He had thought he had found a place to disappear, but now it seemed the universe had other plans. He could not run, the planet was isolated and he was too old, too tired. And yet in the rising fear he felt a spark. A flicker of his old self, the soldier who had faced impossible odds without flinching. He realized slowly that his final mission might not be about dying at all. Perhaps it was about choosing to fight again, not for war but for survival, for meaning, for life itself. The base hummed around him, alive with anticipation. Elias stood in the center of the main chamber, feeling the pulse of the alien technology beneath his feet. Somewhere far above, stars glimmered like diamonds, indifferent to human sorrow. And yet for the first time in years, Elias did not feel small. He felt ready. No one could have predicted what would happen next. He did not yet know who or what would arrive, or how his presence would change the fate of the base. But for the first time he felt something he had long thought lost, hope. And in that hope, Captain Elias Ward prepared to face the unknown. The days on Arcanus 9 passed slowly for Captain Elias Ward, yet they were alive with strange new purpose. He rose each morning to the soft hum of the alien base, a sound that now felt comforting rather than eerie. The walls glimmered faintly, their alien symbols pulsing as if greeting him. With Orion's guidance, he repaired more of the base's systems, connecting lights, energy conduits, and communication panels that had long been dormant. Orion had begun to teach him things Elias could barely comprehend. The Kareth created this place not just as a home, but as a living organism, the consciousness explained one morning. Every wall, every conduit is part of a network. Life flows through it even after my species vanished. Elias listened carefully, his hands brushing over a control panel. I thought all life ends eventually, he said quietly. Even yours? Orion's reply was soft, almost sorrowful. Even I am not eternal, but as long as someone cares for this place, it endures. And now you care. The words struck him. He had come to die here to escape a universe that seemed to have no use for him. And yet in repairing the base, in listening to Orion, he felt more alive than he had in decades. Perhaps he thought there was more to his last mission than simply fading away. That afternoon, while exploring the base's lower levels, Elias noticed something unusual. The air temperature had risen slightly, and faint energy currents moved through the corridors, pulsing like a heartbeat. He frowned. Orion, he called, is the base waking? It senses life, Orion responded. Not just yours, though. Others may be approaching. Elias felt a chill. Others who? The real owners of this base, Orion said. They are returning after a long absence. You are not their intended guest, he paused. Elias had imagined a lonely life here, undisturbed, but now it seemed that destiny had more plans for him. He tried to steel himself. If he was going to face beings far older and more powerful than humans, he would need courage and perhaps luck as well. He had survived war before. Maybe he could survive this. Days turned into nights as he prepared. He repaired the base's energy grids to full capacity, restored the observation towers, and learned how to operate systems he did not fully understand. Each time he touched a panel, Orion's guidance made the alien technology feel almost human, almost friendly. Then one evening, the first signal arrived. It was faint at first, like a ripple across the base's energy networks. Then it grew stronger, a precise pattern that could only come from another Kareth consciousness. Orion spoke urgently. "They are near, very near. Prepare yourself." Elias's heart raced. "Prepare myself how? What do I do?" "Be honest." "Be human," Orion replied. "You may be weak in their eyes, but humanity has a power they no longer understand." That night, Elias sat in the observation deck and looked at the 2 moons hanging over the horizon. He thought of Earth, of the colonies, of the wars he had fought. His fingers rested on a control panel, warm from the energy flowing through it. For the first time in decades, he felt a strange combination of fear and excitement. Perhaps life was not over for him after all. The next morning, the base's main doors opened with a soft hiss, and a figure appeared on the horizon. Elias squinted. It was tall, taller than any human, luminous with light that seemed to shift like liquid silver. Its movements were elegant, precise, and confident. Orion's voice echoed in his mind. "Do not panic. This is Vera. She is the true owner of this base." Elias swallowed. "True owner? Meaning she might not like me here?" "She may perceive you as intruder," Orion warned. "But you have earned a chance to be heard. Your courage, your humanity may speak louder than her anger." When Vera entered the main hall, Elias stepped forward. His body ached from age, from old wounds, but his posture was straight. He would not cower. He looked directly at her luminous eyes and spoke. "I'm Captain Elias Ward," he said. "I bought this place. I came here to end my life quietly, but I did not expect this." Vera regarded him silently. Her gaze was intense, piercing, as if she could see into his soul. "A human," she said finally. Her voice was musical, vibrating in the air like the hum of the bass. "Why do you occupy a place not meant for your kind?" Elias took a deep breath. "I wanted peace. I wanted a place where no one would remember me, where I could die without interference. I did not intend harm." For a long moment, Vera said nothing. Then, almost imperceptibly, she tilted her head. Elias noticed the faintest flicker of curiosity in her expression. Orion spoke in his mind. "She is testing you, be honest. Be sincere." Elias's hand brushed over a nearby console. "I've fought wars, protected lives, and lost many friends. I thought my purpose ended when the battles stopped, but here, I began to feel alive again, even if only for a short time." Vera's light shimmered softer this time. She stepped closer. "Alive?" she asked, her voice carrying a question that seemed older than the stars themselves. "Yes," Elias said firmly. "Even in my final days, I wanted to feel that life mattered, that something I did could count. This place, it reminded me that I still could." There was a pause. Then Vera's energy shifted subtly. She did not move to expel him. Instead, she observed as Elias continued exploring the base, repairing panels, restoring power. She watched his hands move over alien systems with care, noting his persistence and ingenuity. Orion spoke gently. "She is learning. She does not yet trust you, but she sees your dedication. Your humanity is compelling." Days passed. Elias and Vera worked in silence, often in separate chambers, yet the base seemed to connect them. Energy pulses followed Elias as he repaired, and Vera's light responded with subtle changes, not hostile, but cautious. Slowly, an unspoken understanding began to form. One evening, as Elias adjusted a control panel in the observation deck, Vera appeared beside him. The stars reflected in her glowing form. "Why do you care for this place?" she asked softly. Elias hesitated. "Because someone cared before me. Someone built this, lived in it, gave it life. And I don't want it to die." "Not completely." Vera's gaze lingered on him. "You're a species. You fight, you destroy, yet you also preserve. You carry a strength we lost long ago." He looked at her in surprise. "Lost? What do you mean?" "We once knew the power of life in every act," she said. "But over centuries, the Kareth lost it. We became indifferent, empty. You remind me of what we once had." Elias felt a warmth in his chest, a feeling he had not experienced in decades. pride, and hope. He realized that perhaps his presence here mattered more than he had ever imagined, not only for himself but for the legacy of this place and for the being standing beside him, Orion whispered in his mind. She may be the key to understanding, but you are the bridge. Humanity is showing the way. Suddenly, a tremor shook the base. Lights flickered. Panels sparked. An alarm echoed faintly. Elias grabbed Vera's arm. What's happening? He asked urgently. The energy flows are unstable, Orion explained. Something in the network senses external interference. You must stabilize the systems. Together, Human and Kareth, they worked tirelessly. Elias moved panels, rerouted conduits, recalibrated energy nodes. Vera's light flowed along the circuits, merging with his efforts in a dazzling display of cooperation. For hours they labored side by side, bridging the gap between species, between worlds. Finally, the tremors ceased. The base hummed steadily again. Vera turned to him, her luminous form shimmering with quiet admiration. You are stronger than I thought, she said. Stronger in heart and will than many of my own kind. Elias smiled weakly. I'm just human, he said, though the words felt different now. Less bitter, more certain. Perhaps humanity still has much to teach us, Vera replied. And perhaps this place was meant for both of us. As night fell on Arcanus 9, the two stood in the main hall observing the restored base. The stars above shone brighter than ever. Elias realized that he had come here to die, but instead, he had found something unexpected. A purpose, a companion, and a chance to remind a lost civilization of what it once knew. For the first time in decades, he felt that his story was not over. And deep inside, a spark of hope began to grow, waiting for what the universe might send next. The calm of Arcanus 9 was broken one morning by a distant vibration that seemed to echo through the planet itself. Elias Ward stood on the observation deck, gripping the railing as the twin suns cast long shadows over the rocky surface. The base, humming steadily under his care, seemed almost alive with anticipation. Orion's presence, as always, was constant in his mind. They are very close now, the consciousness warned. The one you call Vera is approaching in full form. Prepare yourself. Elias had already seen her partially, a radiant humanoid silhouette taller than any human, made of shifting light and alien energy. But what arrived now surpassed even his imagination. From the horizon came a vessel unlike any human ship, glowing with an iridescent sheen and moving without sound. It touched down gently and the ground seemed to hum in response. Vera emerged fully this time, her form resplendent. Light flowed around her like liquid silver, and her presence filled the chamber as though the base itself recognized its true master. Elias felt small, fragile, and human in a way he had long forgotten. You are still here, Vera said, her voice both musical and commanding. You dared to occupy a place meant for my species. Elias swallowed. His old body ached, his muscles tense from years of war and age, but he did not flinch. I came to die, he said simply. I meant no harm. But while I was here, I found life, something worth fighting for. Vera regarded him silently. For a long moment, the only sound was the hum of the base vibrating with energy. Elias noticed subtle shifts in her light, flickers of curiosity, perhaps even hesitation. Orion whispered in his mind. She senses your courage. She senses your heart. This is the key, human. Do not retreat. The tension was broken by a sudden pulse through the base. Panels sparked and doors hissed as energy surged unpredictably. Elias stepped forward instinctively. Orion, what is happening? A cosmic anomaly, Orion explained. A rift storm is approaching. It threatens to destabilize the entire planet and the base's energy network. You must act. Vera's light flared. Impossible, she said. I have controlled this base for millennia. Nothing should threaten it now. Nothing? Elias muttered. Maybe something no one expected, a challenge. Something only humans can face. Orion's presence strengthened within him. Your instincts, your courage, they are needed. Do not let fear control you. Without hesitation, Elias moved to the central control hub. Vera followed, flowing effortlessly beside him. Together, they accessed the base's core systems, Orion guiding their hands. Panels flashed, energy conduits pulsed, and alien symbols glowed as the base's network responded to their efforts. You move quickly, Vera said, her tone a mixture of surprise and admiration, faster than many of my own kind would manage. I've had practice, Elias said, his voice steady despite the chaos. I've fought wars. I've seen worse than this. We can save this place if we work together. The rift storm outside grew stronger. Lightning-like pulses of energy arced through the planet's atmosphere, striking the surface with incredible force. The ground shook. Dust and rocks tumbled through the air. Inside the base, panels sparked dangerously and energy flows threatened to overload. Orion's voice in his mind was urgent. Recalibrate the conduits. Merge your energies with hers. Balance the system. Elias reached out, connecting his hands to the control panel while Vera extended her radiant form over the circuits. Their combined efforts formed a delicate rhythm. Energy surged and flowed, stabilizing in patterns that neither human nor Kareth could fully understand alone. Hours passed. Sweat ran down Elias's face, muscles burned, and yet he did not stop. Every instinct honed in war, every lesson learned from survival, guided his hands. Vera mirrored him, her flowing light shaping and directing the energy with perfect precision. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the rift storm began to lose its power. The shaking subsided, the lightning pulses weakened, and the base's hum returned to a steady, confident rhythm. Elias exhaled, exhausted, leaning heavily against a console. Vera's light shifted around him. She regarded him not with anger, but with wonder. You have saved it," she said. "Saved my home. Saved what I thought was lost forever." Elias shook his head. "We saved it. Together. I couldn't have done this alone." For the first time, Vera smiled, a subtle, radiant expression that filled the chamber with warmth. "Humans are stronger than I realized," she said softly. "Your courage, your persistence. It awakened something in me I thought was gone." Orion's voice carried pride. "You have shown her humanity's greatest strength, the will to endure even when all seems lost. You have reminded a lost species what it means to live." Elias felt a surge of emotion. He had come here expecting to fade into obscurity, to die quietly in an abandoned base. Instead, he had faced the unknown, worked alongside a being far older and wiser than himself, and reminded a civilization of its lost potential. His chest ached, not from age or injury, but from a deep sense of fulfillment he had never known. Vera moved closer, her energy intertwining with his presence. "You carry a heart that refuses to surrender," she said. "The Kareth lost this long ago. You remind us that life is worth fighting for, even against impossible odds." Elias swallowed hard. I didn't expect to teach anyone anything," he admitted. "I came here to die, but somehow I feel alive again." "You are alive," Vera replied, "and in your actions you have given life back to this base, to me, to Orion. You are more than a visitor. You are part of its history now." The storm had passed, leaving the planet quiet and still. The base glowed softly, humming with renewed energy. Outside, the twin moons reflected the aftermath, casting silver light across the rocky plains. Elias looked around, feeling the weight of what he had accomplished. For the first time in decades, he felt that his life had meaning beyond the battles he had fought and the losses he had suffered. Orion whispered one last time. "You have done what many could not. You have reminded a lost species of hope. You have proven that humanity's spirit endures even in the darkest places." Vera's radiant form approached him fully, her light gentle but powerful. "You have my gratitude," she said. "And perhaps more than gratitude. You have shown me what it means to care, to act, to live with purpose. I wish to learn from you." Elias shook his head, smiling faintly. "I'm just a man. I've made mistakes. I've lost friends. I've seen too much death. But maybe even someone like me can make a difference." "You have made a difference," Vera said firmly. "Not only to me, but to the base, to Orion, and perhaps to the future of both our kinds. You have reminded us that life in all forms is worth preserving." For hours they stood together in silence, watching the restored base. The stars above were countless, brilliant, indifferent to human or Kareth struggles, yet somehow now brighter in Elias's eyes. He realized that he had come seeking the end of his story, but instead, he had found a beginning, a chance to show that even in the twilight of life, courage and purpose could shine brighter than the most ancient light. Finally, Vera spoke again, her voice softer now. "Tomorrow we will explore what this base can become. There is much to repair, much to learn, and you will guide us." Elias nodded slowly. "I will try," he said. "But I'm not young anymore. I'm human. I've learned to do what I can and to trust others to help when I cannot." That is enough, Vera said. Your heart, your will, your courage, that is what matters. The rest will follow. As the night fell over Arcanus 9, Elias stood once more on the observation deck looking out at the stars. He felt the weight of the universe, yes, but also its possibilities. He had thought this was the place where he would die, forgotten and alone. Instead, it had become the place where he had lived fully for the first time in decades, where he had reminded a lost species of hope, and where he had rediscovered his own heart. Somewhere deep inside, he realized that the universe had more for him than he had ever imagined, and for the first time he was ready to face it. Not as a soldier haunted by the past, but as a man capable of inspiring the future. The days after the storm passed slowly, yet they were alive with purpose. Captain Elias Ward moved through the alien base with a renewed sense of energy, a warmth in his chest he had not felt in decades. Vera stayed nearby, radiant and luminous, her flowing light now less distant, more curious, almost gentle. Orian's presence guided them both, whispering advice and explanations, helping Elias understand the alien systems as if he were a part of them. You have done much already, Orian said one morning as Elias recalibrated an energy conduit. But there is still more to discover. This base holds secrets even I do not fully understand. Elias wiped the sweat from his brow. Secrets or not, it's alive again. That's what matters. I came here to die, and now it feels like I might actually live. Vera's luminous form shifted beside him. I have observed humans for centuries, she said softly. But you are extraordinary. Even when you expected death, you acted with courage and purpose. That is a strength my kind lost long ago. Elias smiled faintly. I didn't expect to teach anyone anything. I thought my story was over, but maybe it isn't. Maybe we can do something important here, together. Vera considered him, her light pulsing softly. Perhaps. But first, you must make a choice. Elias turned to her. Choice? There is a way to extend your life, Vera said, her form glowing brighter. The base's energy combined with my own essence could heal your body, restore your strength, even slow aging. You could live for decades longer, perhaps centuries. Elias looked down. The offer was tempting. A chance to live, to continue, to see what came next. But he remembered the years of war, the comrades lost, the endless battles that had shaped him, and he remembered why he had come here, to find peace, to face the end on his own terms. He hesitated. I appreciate it, more than I can say. But I didn't come here to live forever. I came here to find meaning, even if it was brief. I don't want to extend my life for the sake of avoiding death. I want it to mean something while I have it. Vera studied him, her eyes, or the closest humans could perceive as eyes, filled with understanding. You are remarkable, she said softly. Few humans, or Kareth, would make such a choice. To embrace life for its purpose rather than its length. You remind us that existence is measured not by time but by the heart. Orian's voice hummed around him. You have given the base and its memory a heartbeat. You have reminded a lost species of hope. That is your gift, human. Over the next weeks, Elias worked with Vera and Orion to restore more of the base. Chambers that had been dormant for centuries glowed once again. Alien systems hummed with energy, responding to the human touch in ways Vera had not seen in millennia. Plants grew from the walls, delicate and glowing, reflecting the pulse of life within the base. Elias found a quiet joy in the work. Every repaired panel, every conduit restored, every light brought to life felt like a small victory, not in war, but in creation. He spoke often with Vera about her people, their history, and the lessons they had lost. She listened to him with patience and curiosity, absorbing the human perspective he offered. One evening, as they stood in the observation chamber overlooking the planet's rocky surface, Vera spoke with a rare softness. Captain Ward, your presence here has changed much. You have reminded me of what it means to live with purpose, to care, to act when all seems lost. Your heart, it is extraordinary. Elias shook his head. I'm just a man. I've fought, I've survived, and I've lost. But if my heart can remind someone like you, maybe that's enough. Vera's light pulsed brighter. It is more than enough. It is eternal in a sense. Hearts like yours do not vanish easily. Even in silence they endure. Days turned into weeks. The bond between human and Kareth grew stronger, though not romantic. It was a connection deeper than language, a meeting of spirit and purpose. Orion facilitated the understanding, but it was Elias's courage and humility that impressed Vera most. Then one morning, a quiet moment of reflection turned into something deeper. Elias realized that his time in the base had already made him part of something larger than himself. The base was no longer abandoned. It was alive, not just with alien energy but with the shared purpose of those who respected it. He felt that even after he was gone, the energy of life he had nurtured would remain. Vera approached him, her light gentle and warm. "There is one final thing I can offer you, Captain. Not life extended, not power, but remembrance. A way for your essence, your courage, to continue here in the heart of the base." "And what do you mean?" Elias asked. "I can preserve the core of your heartbeat," she explained. "A crystal of energy, carrying your life force, your courage, your humanity. It will remain within the base, a reminder to anyone, human or Kareth, that life, courage, and hope endure, even across centuries." Elias looked at her, understanding the gravity of her words. He had come seeking death, yet now he realized that even in his passing he could leave something eternal, a symbol of humanity's resilience and heart. I would like that," he said quietly. "If it can inspire even a fraction of what we've seen here, then it's worth it." Vera extended her hand, radiant energy flowing from her form into a small crystal matrix. Elias placed his hand over it. He felt warmth, a pulse, a soft rhythm like a heartbeat. His chest filled with light, and for a moment, he felt every memory of his life. The battles, the losses, the friends, the victories, as if they were all woven into the crystal. "Your heart will remain," Vera said. "A guide, a teacher, a reminder that life in all forms is precious. Even when forgotten, it can inspire again." Elias smiled, a tired but content smile. "Then maybe I haven't truly left," he whispered. Orion hummed softly. "Your purpose is complete. You have reminded us all, Kareth and human alike, of what it means to live, to endure, to hope." The days that followed were peaceful. Elias spent his final moments walking through the restored base, observing the lights, the energy flows, and the plants growing from the walls. He spoke with Vera and Orion, sharing wisdom from his life, teaching them about courage, compassion, and the simple power of human persistence. And when the time came, he did not fear it. He lay in the chamber where he had first arrived, surrounded by the pulse of the base and the gentle presence of Vera and Orion. The crystal shimmered softly nearby, carrying the essence of a man who had lived fully, even in his final days. Elias closed his eyes, feeling no pain, only peace. His thoughts drifted to Earth, to the stars, to the countless lives he had touched in ways small and unseen. And then, with a gentle sigh, he let go. The crystal glowed brighter, carrying his heartbeat, his courage, his humanity. Vera and Orion watched in reverence, knowing that the base and all who would come after would remember him. Years later, explorers, human and alien alike, would find the abandoned base on Arcanus 9. They would see the glowing crystal, pulse faint but steady, and hear a voice, soft and clear. Even in silence, humanity endures. The message would inspire them, a lesson that courage, hope, and purpose were stronger than any obstacle. Elias Ward, the war veteran who came to die, had left a legacy greater than he could have imagined. A reminder that life, in all its forms, is worth fighting for, preserving, and cherishing. The base thrived, alive with energy and purpose, a testament to human spirit and the enduring heart that had reminded an ancient species what it meant to live. And somewhere deep within its systems, Elias's heartbeat continued, eternal in light, eternal in hope, eternal in the memory of all who would come after. And so, the war veteran's story ended not in silence or despair, but in life remembered, courage honored, and a heart that taught immortals how to feel again.